Good morning, afternoon or evening, and welcome to video number 2 in my journey to getting better at 0 AD, hopefully to the point where I can hold my own against most players and potentially beat some of the better players. So this is a game that I played a couple of days ago against a guy called Jomocaccino, or Jomocaccino, so he had a slightly higher rating than me, as you can see, so I thought it'd be a good game. He also chose this map, Northern Ireland. I'd never played it before, but presumably he knows it relatively well, so he probably picked it for, being on home comforts and everything. So I didn't know where any of the resources were or anything like that, but it was still a good opportunity to play someone around the same sort of level as me. So I'll just go for the start. So the first thing that happened to me, this is him. The first thing happened to me is that I realised I had no cavalry, and that my infantry decided to pick a fight with a bear. So fortunately none of them were hurt, but it was still a bit, it wasn't what I was looking for exactly. So there are also no berries, so the whole thing kind of threw me a little bit. So I set my women straight away to farming, but as you can see, my men all kind of ran off attacking a bear, which was something that I didn't expect to happen. And I haven't got anyone to harvest these chickens, so the first thing I did was get myself a cavalryman. And also these guys doing that, I really wanted them to get some wood, so after being a bit thrown and not following what was happening, I did eventually get them to build a storehouse and get them then chopping some wood. Also got another 4 women with the idea that they would go and help out with the wood. Let's see what my opponent did. So he basically dumped he made extra men and women, and just got them picking berries and harvesting, but he didn't get any cavalry or anything. So back to me now. There's my 4 women. They've decided I'm going to get another 2. It looks very much like I'm at risk of getting housed, so I assume that I'll build a house relatively quickly. Let's have a look. There's 2 women coming out there. Are they going to build a house? I'm hoping to see some foundations go shortly, because otherwise we're very short of space. We're at 140 wood, so that won't happen until it's at 150. But this woman's desperately waiting for that moment, and she gets it now. So she's going to start building a house, and a second cavalryman comes, because the first one's been off getting the bear, which has 300 food, and each of these chickens are only 40, so between them they're going to start getting that together. Once this house is built, I can then hopefully get some more women. We've got 2 coming in, it takes to 20, and after that I'll just try and expand the population a bit further with another 2 horses, because I've seen these deer over here, so I'm going to harvest those. And also one of my favourite things to do, if you can get a lot of food that way, it does give you a lot more flexibility in terms of you can either go and raid someone, or if they're going to attempt to raid you, you've got some mobile units to defend yourself. So if we look at how my opponent's done, I mean, he's on 26, I'm on 20. He's got more troops around, but I'm not really sure what they're doing. I don't think he's built a building yet. He has produced a horseman, but yeah, that's a bit odd. Oh no, sorry, I'm saying that, and then there's a storehouse here and 3 houses, so yeah, ignore that, I've gone insane for a second. So now here we are a little bit further on. If we look at my thing, I'm on 25 while he's on 28, but I'm producing cavalry, good lord, presumably thinking there will be more deer around, but at the moment it looks very much like they're the only ones, or the only ones that were available have been done. This is always one of my favourite things to see, is when there's a wolf, which there is in here, but rather than just leave him be, we decide to pick a fight with him. It's of no benefit to anyone, particularly as we had no intention of going anywhere near there, but I suppose it keeps us safe, albeit maybe he could have actually helped to alert me to some attackers and maybe damage them if someone come that way to attack. So these horses go off for a little bit of a wander to check another wolf. They're on some kind of guard duty, it seems, against all the wolves in the game, so I wonder how many more of those are going to show up. Right, so now if we look, you can see Jomocaccino has kind of expanded a bit, but he's got a lot of idle women here not doing anything. He's got one farm, as have I, in fairness, and it looks like very much I've housed myself again, so I'm waiting on these 4 women until we get another house going, but there's plenty of wood, so it makes sense to probably build a few houses. Also, as I get deeper into the forest and get a little bit further away from the town centre, I'm building a defence tower just in case someone were to come through in this direction. So yeah, this chap here is building another house. Early on in the game as well, one of the things that I like to do is build the houses close to the storehouse, because if you do get attacked, if you've got a tower, then yeah, the men can go into the tower, but invariably you've got larger numbers of women at this stage, and well, if you can put them in a house, then that's a nice option to do that. So now building another house, so this has been the 4th one, taking us up to 60 population capacity. Another farm to hopefully get some more food. Oh god, we're missing my raid on them, so yeah, I sent my troops out to raid him. I only had it reached a kind of point where I felt that was a useful thing to do, so my 6 horses, who weren't doing all that much at all, went in 2 separate ways. So one came round this way, as you can see, and one came round, or one group rather, so 4 went that way, and then another 2 came round to try and get them behind as these guys were chasing them. The idea that we'd get them from the back and do that. So yeah, that gave me a chance to have a look inside his base. Realised he wasn't particularly well developed at this stage, but also was a little bit concerned that maybe a lot of his troops were elsewhere. So because I wasn't absolutely certain exactly what had happened, because quite often people build in the opposite direction, he may well have, for instance, built, I mean the last guy here, just watch him get killed, and then I'll drop the horses back into the town centre to heal a bit. But what I did see was people kind of around here, and you don't know what's further back, so because I didn't know the map, it could be that half his army was over here and he just had a handful of people there. And so because of that, I was a little bit concerned that there might be reprisals, even though I've taken out a few of his troops. So built myself a barracks here to start producing troops, and also helped out building these farms. So we see we've got 5 archers there building the farms, while the I'm producing women to actually work on the farms. The cavalry are healing quite nicely, so relatively happy with that. And if we look at the state of play, yeah, I've got 9 more population, so quite happy with the way that's gone. Albeit it's a little bit disjointed, and I do have a person here who's just sat doing nothing. But in terms of population, I'm certainly in a position where, with the amount of wood that we have, I don't need to just produce women to save wood. I can actually start producing soldiers. And what I'm doing here is, with these 5 archers, is really putting a wall around the things. I know where he's located now. I found him. So by building that, I'm really funneling his troops, if they want to come in, to go through this gap here or around here. Either way, I'll have protection, so he shouldn't be able to access the women that are farming. So putting the horses out now, and yeah, everything's going relatively well. I've picked up the first upgrade, and this will be the 4th farm, sorry. I'm going to just have a look. Yeah, so that's the 4th farm, and also go and produce another storehouse, because I've realised these guys are starting to have to walk quite a distance. A good rule of thumb that I've picked up from other tutorial videos is that if your people are walking more than 2 storehouses to get to a storehouse, you should build another storehouse. So as I realised that we're going to be coming around this way, especially if it's cleared of wolves after the early start there, it's time to do it. So notice that my opponent has already reached the town phase, albeit he's done so with a population that's substantially smaller than my population. So his guys are way up in the hills. They've nearly cleared that. They're building some farms, and he also has a dock, but with a couple of idle fishing boats. Not really sure why they're not doing something. Maybe there isn't actually any fish other than this giant whale, which I don't think they can capture. Also got one little guy just stood on the other side looking out to sea. He's quite mournful. I've remember once I was in Acarigna and I missed my flight, so I had to stay another couple of days and spent the evening, not a couple of days, I spent for another 24 hours, so it was the only flight back to London, and spent the evening looking out over the Atlantic Ocean, thinking that was a good use of 300 quid. Maybe he's doing much the same. So now we've got another sentry tower going up, and this is to help try and increase my range in terms of the territory that I have. The other thing that I like about these sentry towers is that if you get 4 of them, which you'll notice that I have, it means that once you get to stage 2, you can upgrade them using this little thing here. It costs, I think, an additional 50 wood to do it that way, but what it means is that you can get quite cheaply via wood and stone into phase 3 quite quickly if you want to. You also notice what's happened here is that because this farm was needing to go further away, I've built another farmstead that gives me access to the farming upgrades, but also it means that I can build a little bit further away and still have people easily able to get the women who are able to get the food back to the base. So now you'll notice these guys have seen some deer, which is good, so they're not completely wasting their time anymore.
Yeah, see?
Their horses do have a purpose, and at this point I'm building another barracks, and my plan is, well, after I get to phase 2, to start producing a larger number of horses to see if there's a way that I can sort of go for a bit of a raid again, or at least see what's going on a bit more in that way. So you'll notice that with those, I've now got the same number, actually 7 horses. So the population's at 70, this is at 55. I've reached the town phase. It pushes my boundary out. At this point, my horseman that ran off earlier and his mournful hoplite have a fight, and who's going to win? The mournful hoplite wins, so getting revenge there for ruining his view of out to sea. Got the 7 horses going, and I've broken one of the cardinal rules of the game here, is that you should always be producing units, and I'm producing absolutely nothing at this stage. And more frustratingly, I've decided I need to get some more houses for some reason. I'm not really sure why when I've got such a large of extra space, but nonetheless I need some more houses, and I've done it before finishing this barracks, so I think that's a mistake that's been made there. These chaps have gone off and killed the mournful hoplite, and left him well, literally for dead. Right, see what my opponent's doing. He's expanded a little bit, another barracks. He's also fallen into the same trap that I have of not producing. He was doing that. He's now got his fishing boats fishing, it seems. Are they actually? No, they're not picking up any fish, they're just wandering around. Perhaps exploring, so he's got a lot of people walking a long way to get distances. And he's decided to put 2 hoplites this time, so that one at least has got a friend for his staring out to sea. Let's see what's going on here. Again, 3 areas that I should be producing from, and I'm producing from none of them. But what I have at least realised is there's a hell of a lot of stone here, so other than that, if you look around the base, there was no stone and there was no metal either. The metal is all the way up here, it's the closest, and the stone is all the way over there, which isn't great, and seems a little bit mean when you consider that he had stone literally right next to the town centre, albeit the metal wasn't in a great location. So what you'll sort of notice at this stage now is I start to try and build up some horses, so I'm just going to speed it up and get to that stage a little bit quicker, because there's not a lot happens for a little while now. I just literally this is something I'm very pleased with. You'll notice that I actually made sure that I had exactly you can have 24 people on a piece of stone that can mine it, and I made sure I had 24 exactly, so I was pretty happy with that. Albeit what I actually did, if you have a look for a second, if I just count the number of people there, you realise there's 29. So there's a brief spot here while I try and sort of slow that down so that we can see that. So yeah, there's a brief period of time where they stop doing that, so I can try and isolate 5 people to bring them off that. The one woman is there because women offer a bonus to men, so they work harder, presumably showing off if a woman's there. So yeah, that's the thing. So we'll see in a second. Yeah, here they are. There's a group of them just doing nothing because only 24 can work on that. So I get everyone to go back, then pull 5 men off there. That's not what I meant to say. Get 5 of them, stop them producing, getting the stone, and get them to get the wood instead. So there's 3, and now find another couple, and then the rest get back on with it. So you'll see now we're on got the correct number of people there. What I've also assembled here is 23 horses, which are in a position to do some raiding at some point. So I'm producing another 4 from there, and another 10 here. So I haven't got the population capacity at the moment. Still waiting on that, because I'm at 110 out of 110. But because I was playing as Carthaginians, they use the temple to actually get their heroes. So I wanted to get some heroes to support my assault. It's these cavalry with spears, who their charge is pretty brutal. So yeah, I got that together and moved as many buildings as I could out here to try and get my storehouse as close as possible to the metal, but also because I'm still not 100% aware of exactly what's happening. My opponent appeared to be not particularly well developed, but I was still a bit concerned about his potentially having had a lot of people in the background that I didn't know about. So in exactly the same as with the gold, I'll just slow it down, as with the stone. I wanted to get 24 people working on this, so you'll probably see that there's another 4. There's 4 cavalries, there's 6 coming here. No. Because the others were already there, so if we count them up, you see there's 12. There were 14 here, that's too many, but rather too many than too few. And I'm also building a Iberian embassy, and I like to do this because if you get to a point later in the game where there's rams, then they have just some really quite cheap heavy cavalry that can take out a ram pretty quickly. So if you have 5 or 10 of those, they can literally sweep up any rams that sneak through this kind of wall of buildings to actually get close to the town centre.
Yeah, see?
I've now got 35 horses, which I'm relatively happy with. Mined almost half of this. These guys were building additional houses to make sure we don't get housed again anytime soon. And I've got another couple of houses coming here, which I've got one lonely guy working on. You know, he'll be fine. Another house there, that's another 4 cavalry. So that takes us now to 39, and at this point I'm attacked. I'm not really sure by what exactly. So all I can see is that there's arrows coming, and that the implication of that is that it's a watchtower or a town centre. And as you can see, I haven't upgraded my towers yet, and it could be that actually I don't. Oh no, they're waiting to be upgraded. So sorry, they've all been there. So this one. So here they come, they're all being upgraded now, and at that point it becomes clear that he's got a town centre here. So now I'm a little bit concerned, because perhaps that implies that he was more developed than I thought if he's bold enough to put a town centre right on my doorstep. That said, make light work of his spearmen. I've got 35 soldiers at this point. Actually, maybe even more than that. 39 cavalry. So you see now he starts to send out more troops, and now I'm a bit worried because he's got something. It turns out it's only one person in here, which I didn't realise, but you can see this stream of people that I see. But actually, when it turns out that most of them are just going straight into the town centre, I feel pretty reassured. And if we just look at the rate at which he's losing people here, there seems to be one every few seconds. They're going down. I mean, he's now taking people from me as well, but these guys might be taking the brunt of it, but the others are just, it's a slaughter from behind there. So having done that, I want to realise I can't take over the thing quite quickly, so send the troops away. Or there you go, you can see more people coming, and put them into the temple to heal. This guy rather stupidly goes back out. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you don't set them to defensive and you leave people attacking. Well, apparently they are on defensive, so quite why he decided the need to do that, I'm not sure. Then I get disappointed with these guys that instead of going through this, it's just not that much of a gap, maybe that's why, go the way that gets them shot, and I send them back here to heal. But I'm on my way to stage 3, and now a plan really does formulate in my head. So I've got plenty of resources, more than I should really have invested those. But as you start to approach the population cap, which I was getting close to, you'll get a bit. It turns out the population cap was 300. I normally play 200, so I probably thought I was closer to the pop cap than I was, and I wanted that capacity to be made up of better troops. You don't just want 200 archers who are not going to offer very much. So if we just speed up my development, my next plan is start getting some of these sacred band cavalry. So this again, and the other thing is that I want to build a fortress. Again, leaving something half finished, that's a mistake. I think I just saw it and was like, oh, that looks done, even though there's scaffolding everywhere. A bit worrying to see people wandering around there and then getting close to things. But the plan now is I build this fortress, try and keep it out of sight so he doesn't realise it's happening, but then I'll train some elephants. The elephants will come and knock down the town centre, and I'll do that and try and coordinate that with me running into his base with a load of the horse archers. So I can see that this is blocked up, so they're not going to get in that way, although it does look like I could probably get round. But I know that from earlier I could go around this way, so I'll just try and do that again. I also he knocks down one of my houses, so that was sad. I didn't notice that at the time. And here to get a second Iberian embassy. So if you need to produce those, or if a number of rams were to come, because you assume when you see a town centre that a fortress is following shortly after, but it transpires he's still at which were the second phase, so he's not actually getting that close at all. If we just have a look from his point of view, plenty of food and metal, and he's just wait, no he's not, he's just done something else with all of that resource. So he's getting some metal and what do you call it? Oh yeah, he's building another town centre over here. That's what happens with all that resource. So those people that I was a bit worried about that were going to try and come after me, it turns out were just actually on their way down to build town centre number 2. So he's trying to encircle me, but he's got 48 plays 178. Yeah, that's insane. Then this was annoying. So I've built my elephants now, and one of them decides that, so I don't want him to know about elephants, and the first thing he does is it spies an unused storehouse and decides that's the ideal thing to attack. So rather frustratingly, assuming that he saw that because the guy ran back, he now knows I've got a number of elephants, which means that he can start to prepare to defend against them. So that means that I need to make this move a little bit quicker. But it's one of the most frustrating things that can happen, that is that you've got a perfect plan and then one of your troops just sees something utterly pointless and decides to attack it for no reason other than to give away the plan. So here you go, I've got my 10 Sacred Band cavalries. I finished this off. I'm not actually making any more cavalry for some reason. Probably because I haven't got sufficient wood at the moment to really go for it. But that's got 10, got another 20 range cavalry. Yeah, what are they actually called? Numidian cavalry. And the other thing is, I'm getting myself from the temple a Mahabal, which is this guy. So he will offer a 30% increase on my cavalry melee soldiers' attack. They've already got pretty rock and roll attack. These band of whatever they're called, Sacred Band people, but now they're going to absolutely kick ass. And we've got another couple coming there. So that's now. So these.
Yes,
I also set up a market to try and get my troops, but this is now. I'm just going through me preparing for the attack. So I sent a load of people there to start doing stuff. I also wanted to get at this. What do you call it? Stone. I'm just going to put this right down for a second. Yeah, so I wanted to get at this stone, and I was frustrated to find that my attempt to expand my territory with a house didn't really work. So instead of having to just move that far, if I'd put a storehouse there rather than a normal house, they have to wander all the way down there. So I just thought, you know what, I've got a reasonable amount of troops here, so what have we got?
Yeah, see?
I've got 30 the other cavalries, whatever they're called, the archer ones. I'm going to have very shortly 10 garrisoned Sacred Band there. I'm going to get another 2 and then 4 to back them up, with the idea being that I've got some in production if if the attack starts to go and not as well as I'd hoped and they need more support, then I'm not going to suddenly be clicking later to try and get some. They're going to already be on the production line, and that's why there's 2 with the 4, so they've only got 10 seconds to come. So the plan now is these guys, let's put it down to normal, wander round, which they absolutely can do, so they try and avoid being attacked by that, and go on a bit of a rampage here. So there's like 30. It transpires he is just really badly developed, and that's what's been going on here, which is why he's you'll find out there's the reason that it's clear that he's underdeveloped is later on. So yeah, I'm doing that, but now also think, well, my Sacred Band are ready, so I will get them to try and capture this town centre. So the first thing to do is get the elephants to try and smash it up a little bit. Once it's smashed, then it should be easy enough to capture. So he's producing hoplites one at a time. These guys, there's still 27 of them left. I basically just left them to get on with the stuff. Most of the men are dead, so it's just a case of now, going around after the women, which they are doing. They're killing them rather nicely. You can see my elephants. I try and pull them away so that I can capture this, but oh no, I do capture it. Oh no, I don't. Unfortunately, they don't get away quite in time, which is frustrating. Then we'll get the thing, and you'll see at that point it says the replay is finished. Do you want to quit? I'm going to say no. Yeah, the reason that I'm saying that I was surprised it was underdeveloped is because his ELO, his rating's actually 100 points higher than mine. But it turns out what he does is he plays rated games, but if he's losing, he just quits. So it doesn't count as a defeat for him. So that's how he's managed to maintain his ELO, because you can see he's pretty rubbish player, frankly. So if you're unfortunate enough, or not unfortunate because you don't get, it's not random, is it? If you see him in a game and think I'll go and play that, he's not much good at the game, so it's not particularly, you're not going to learn a lot from it. Equally, you're also not going to get any rating points because he'll just quit before you get the chance to to actually for him to be defeated. So he'd actually set up his other thing over here. I don't know quite why he had so few people. His fishing boat's gone out there, but I mean, it's pretty clear from what's happening here. I haven't lost anyone, I don't think. Yeah, I've got 16 Sacred Band cavalry that are going to come roaring in. If we look at, he's got 28 people left from a capacity of 100. He's got no resources really. We've taken over this storehouse. I've got. If I can just go back to my thing. Got 27 of the ranged cavalry still there. All of my elephants have survived, I believe. No, one might not have done. So he may well have taken down an elephant, which would be really disappointing because there's elephants. Oh no, he hasn't. There's another one, but it's just God knows where it is. It's run off somewhere. So yeah, my economy's like incredibly strong. I've set these up. Unfortunately, due to the nature of the map, it wasn't possible really to put these much further apart, which was disappointing. So the game was only 2, but with 10 camels going between them, what I had basically set my barter was 100% metal, because I could see there was access to stone but no more metal. So what did I learn from this game? So in terms of, well, one is that the guy I was playing is a bad sport, and in the end there's no point in artificially inflating your ELO. I don't know why you do it, because all it does is mean that you end up playing people that are too good for you. Here's my other elephant. He's running off down there, not sure why. The other thing, I wasn't very happy with the way that I kept production of troops going. I missed a few bits there, and I also was bamboozled for a few minutes, as you probably saw. Not a few minutes, but a reasonable amount of time, because I just didn't know what to do when there was no stone, no berries, no nothing close by. It was all just, I was completely flummoxed. But despite that, still came round and came out of it okay, I think. So thanks for watching. If there's anything that you think that I haven't spotted that I could have done a lot better, which I'm sure there is plenty, because I'm still a long way from getting where I want, then please don't hesitate to let me know. But on the whole, I was pleased that I got the victory, but also I didn't even. So yeah, he just got stuck in the actual fortress, didn't come out, so that's bizarre. He didn't even get the game, so he was there to enhance these guys, and it transpires they left him behind, but he wasn't required. So yeah, the one thing I would say that I was pleased with was actually, quite often I find it quite difficult to go into the game and think I've reached a point now I need to do something. What is it I'm attempting to do? But I actually had a clear strategy at this point, even though it was probably aided by him putting that town centre there. Had he not done that, perhaps my strategy would have been a little bit less clear, but I knew that something had to be done quickly because I could not let him get a fortress and all other things, impinging on me. My resources were nowhere near at the level that he had access to. Had he been able to properly pin me in, and he could have started coming around this way. So that's that. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment, do whatever you like, and I'll see you for number 3 soon. Cheers.